and we've been identified as a technology to help with the resurgence of sports because of the value that we provide and allowing those fans to feel comfortable in this global pandemic that we're in. Our product transformed from a fan experience side of the world to an operations health and safety side moving forward. So we're in this transition of from a nice to have solution to a need to have solution.
Welcome, Zach, to the show, Pack Talks with VJCV. Zach is on the show for the second time. We spoke almost 6-7 months back when things were quite different. The market was different. We didn't have COVID, and now he's back. So let's hear it from Zach. Thank you, Zach, for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to talk to you again.
For the viewers, Zachary Klima, he's a founder and CEO of WaitTime, a very innovative and interesting solution. I would not say software, it's a solution. So, Zach, if you can just give a gist of what WaitTime is all about and how it started up.
Yeah, so we've developed the first in the world artificial intelligence building system technology that's able to track and record the movement analysis of people in real time in large sports venues around the world. So we started in sports, but we're quickly going to mass transit, retail, and a number of other areas. So the way WaitTime works is we mount power over Ethernet cameras, just any camera in the world, above every line inside the stadium. Now, basically what it does is it takes screenshots 10 times per second from above the line, and our patented artificial intelligence tracks anonymously, of course, so there's no object recognition. It tracks the speed of direction of each person, tracks the direction of movement of each person, and it does all this 10 times per second. So we know with 4 different algorithms that we have, we know a number of different things using a mix and match of those algorithms. So with a couple of them, we know how many people are in line at any point in time. And others, we know the percentage of occupancy of a given area in real time as well. So as an operator, you're able to dial in and see what your problems are, set threshold triggers of occupancy and areas across your concourse in real time. But also the fan has access to this information as well. So when a fan walks out of their seat, there's always that decision-making location. Do I go right or do I go left? So at that point in time, what we have is a very large 75-inch screen that we mount outside of every single vomitory, and it shows you concessions to the right, concessions to the left, restrooms to the right and to the left, and what the wait times are in that green, yellow, red spectrum bar analysis. So we've developed a first-in-the-world interior and exterior environment traffic system for people in real time. So it's both the fan side and the operation side.
When I was looking at WaitTime and the article that we covered, say 6 months back on WaitTime, the whole thought process of how you started WaitTime in terms of you missing up important section of the game, and so you wanted to come back with a solution wherein people don't wait and lose time. And
correct.
It's an amazing thing to see that now the same solution comes back as a solution which can actually help people to wait and see where is less crowd and then make their movement to that side. So in a way, WaitTime, which was like a solution to manage the reduce the waiting time, now it's nice to see that you have pivoted and turned it around and helping people to manage the crowd and make them wait and then get into the stadium.
That's right. Yeah. So we started off as a fan experience because I, as a fan, missed a game-winning goal, as you said. So I thought it as a fan would have been great, which of course it is. But in this global pandemic that we're in, our product transformed from a fan experience side of the world to an operations health and safety side moving forward. So we're in this transition of from a nice to have solution to a need to have solution. So, it's a very good timing for knowing what crowds are doing inside the venue, outside the venue, and we have a technology that helps with that.
Before we come back to the sports and we talk about sports arenas and how sports will be impacted because of the pandemic and how WaitTime can actually be a part of the solution, can you talk about how WaitTime has expanded or enhanced this solution so that now even the retail industries like a supermarket or a shopping mall can actually use WaitTime and make sure that there is a proper crowd management happening there?
Yeah, so we've done a couple of different things with our solution. We added on to the first big one is we built another algorithm. So the algorithm that we built that is applicable in not just sports but grocery stores and shopping centers is our entry and exit software. So what we do is we mount a camera. What it does is it will monitor and count the people going in and the people going out at the same time. And if you have multiple doors, we can link those doors together. So you always know what the real-time occupancy of that area is. So that's the biggest addition that we've done, which, for if you're talking about sports, it's for, VIP clubs, for suites, for all kinds of different things. But we also, for grocery stores, it's a big one because they have to monitor how many people go inside. So it's a way for them to manage occupancy auditing when it comes to our solution.
Great. So to take you a little bit more in detail about this particular thing that you spoke about retail, is there a possibility wherein your algorithm, once it calculates the number of people going in, and every store will have a set amount of people who can be inside the store at a particular point in time? So either way wherein it connects to the door and automatically the door gets locked and next set of people cannot get in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have an API that they can tie into whatever system they have. So if it hits a certain number of people inside the store, we can then lock the door. Once people leave and it can unlock the door. There's all different kinds of things that we can do to automate, building automation, basically, for smart controls, for locks, and things like that are more operational focused. So yes, the answer is yes.
Awesome. The usability of WaitTime currently, it will not be restricted to even the small grocery stores. It can even go to a level in which I have an office space, and in my office space, in the meeting room, I can have only 5 people at a time to maintain the social distancing. Then once 5 people are inside, my office door or the meeting room automatically closes and it will not open until unless someone walks out of the room.
Correct.
You do that, right?
Correct. Yep. It's all just using our data feed from that specific location that we're monitoring, and that can control anything. So it's always those if-then statements. So and that's all powered by an API, which is fed by WaitTime.
Now, taking you back to say 3 months, March, when the whole thing happened, the COVID hit and people didn't know what to do and everything around sports was getting into a closure, and you had always focused on sports and your solution was around sports. So how did you take it, and how much time it took for you to turn it around and make it a different solution?
So we were thinking about other applications before COVID hit, but once COVID hit, that definitely sped up everything. So yeah, I mean, we were thinking about it beforehand, but when it actually happened, it really just expedited that process.
Has any of the government bodies started talking to you in terms of using your product somewhere?
So actually, the first meeting we had with the government body was in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, so the governing body over there, which was introduced to us by a good friend of mine who is a consultant, a very well-known venue consultant out of Australia. He introduced us to the governing body, that they make investment for sport. So when we did that, it was it was fantastic because all of the governing body they don't know what to do as well. They said, hey, we're figuring things out. This is a congealing process of everything. So when we showed them what we were doing, we hopefully, and I think it turned out that way. We helped them to gain more clarity on what's out there to really help out in a positive way.
Awesome. So for people who don't know in terms of how WaitTime reached Australia, so WaitTime is the one which powers Sydney Cricket Ground and Melbourne Cricket Ground in terms of managing the crowd there. So that's for the cricket fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So now coming to sports, the sports has changed drastically once the COVID thing hit, and now all the leagues in US and in across the globe, everyone is thinking about doing the matches with a closed stadium with no fans. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, well, I think it has to be in stages, right? So a lot of sports are in the planning stages for when sports do open up in terms of all fans are allowed to come back in. All fans are not going to come back in because they don't feel comfortable. So what WaitTime had, we've been identified as a technology to help with the resurgence of sports because of the value that we provide and allowing those fans to feel comfortable to be inside the stadium. So we see it in two stages where, we'll be inside the stadiums when there'll be no fans inside there. But what we're doing is we're preparing for the inevitable comeback of sports. So when they do come back, everything will be up and ready to go and to provide that best experience.
I've got two things to ask. One is in terms of since the WaitTime has got some options in terms of having your say digital marketing on your device or things like that. So do you see more fan engagement happening through this now?
Yeah, definitely. So because WaitTime's digital signage is very well seen inside these venues, it's a way to communicate messaging, whether it be finding the shortest line, informing people on social distancing, strategically messaging the fans because you have the attention of the fans on our system. So with that being said, a lot of big brand sponsors and advertisers, they want to get behind products that provide relevant content that are seen by the fans. So not just flashing LED off in the corner. They want to get behind a system that has relevance to pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID. So, and we happen to fall into those categories. So we see digital activation increasing significantly.
Awesome. So in line with that, the second question that I have is that you spoke about people. First, we start with the closed stadiums, and then going forward, we will be slowly opening up the stadiums, and fans will come in and things like that. So where does WaitTime come in terms of you can control the number of people getting into the stadium, or in addition to that, can you actually control the time also in which people get inside the stadium?
Yeah, so it's all about of that data feed, right? So we can provide all the data. We have different schematic designs that we've set up and different schemes that we've set up of our system. So it'll say, here it is for 30% capacity, here it is for 50% capacity, 70%. So we know how to manage those crowds with our data being used properly by the teams that we work with. So yeah, absolutely. So it's those if-then statements. If it hits a certain threshold, then do this. So yeah, we have all of that set up now, which is exciting. So it's just, the next step is, to put these in place before the season starts, which we actually have our first NFL property, which is exciting. With that being said, there's a lot of different things we'll do once we're in. We just got to get in, which is happening now.
Awesome. I would like to understand in terms of NBA, because that's where you started off in terms of becoming a major partner with a lot of the NBA teams first, and then you became one of the partners with the National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
So, when do you see NBA coming back, and what are the restrictions in terms of you see in terms of NBA happening currently for the next couple of months?
With a smaller season on July 31st. So that's exciting. So there is a date set, but it's going to be different. There's going to be probably no fans inside the arena, besides for staff. I've read a lot of the protocols they have to do for all the players, for all the staff members. And everything's going to be played at one controlled location, which is obviously in Orlando with Disney. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I know that this is temporary. This is not going to be forever. So, but we got to use COVID as a learning lesson of prioritization for technology initiatives. So, when we saw it with us specifically, they're like, "Oh, you're a nice to have." It's not high on our priority list right now. We know how our crowds behave. Maybe sometime in the future. But nowadays, it's more about, okay, we have to know how our crowds are behaving. So every value proposition that we said early on is now rising to the top of the priority list as time goes on. So it's pretty interesting to see how that lasts, because everything that's happening now is not permanent. It's temporary in terms of the way that things are happening. So these sports teams are really doing a check on an audit on the technologies they have, the systems they have in place, and the programs that they put priority on. They can't have foo-foo technology anymore. They have to have relevant arena technology that truly provides value.
And if I understand correctly, and if I remember correctly, you have a patent, or you have applied for a patent for this, right?
Yes, correct. Yep. We have software patents on our solution in multiple countries around the world. And, both on the software side, the whole entire system, where WaitTime information is put on, like a mobile app or digital sign. So we've created a very big umbrella with our solution, which has been good and positions us well.
Great. So we spoke about cricket, definitely Australian cricket. We spoke about that. We spoke about NBA. You touched upon NFL. I think you had a solution for the US Open, right? Is that something which is getting tweaked, and they're going to use it in more effective sense?
Yeah. So we monitored the grandstand capacities of seating at the USTA. So that solution is being looked at by a number of different organizations around the world, including other tennis opens around the world. It's really in golf. So it's really where you have open general admission seating, because you can choose to go there. If it's not general admission, you're not allowed in there. So, but yeah, we're looking at that. That's a different use case of what we call our massing algorithm. But we use our massing algorithm in all stadiums as well, so from a different application. So it's interesting to see these different use cases of our technology with the same technology. So, but yeah, there is a lot of interest with that solution around the world.
We hope, and everyone is praying and hoping that the COVID thing disappears fast. But
That's right.
We never know when it's going to happen, or whether it's going to be a second wave or not. We don't know about that. And we have got a big event which was supposed to happen this year, the Olympics, Japan, which has been rescheduled now, and it's going to happen in 2021 if things go as per plan. So it will be an event wherein the audience as well as the participants, they would be coming from across the globe, and there will be huge requirement of crowd management there. So is WaitTime equipped to handle such a scale of event and crowd management?
Yeah, so actually we were working with the technology provider for the Olympics this year, and then everything got pushed off, obviously. So So yeah, we do have partnerships in place, systems integrators in place that can scale our solution around the world. So yes, we do have those in place now.
Great. And I'm sure that going forward in 2022 Qatar World Cup also they would be requiring something similar to this, and WaitTime can be a solution for that as well.
Yeah, we're talking to those people right now. So really, it's the same problem with every event that you have. So, which is good. It doesn't matter what language you speak or what part of the world you're in. Crowds are always a problem, and so that's why having the patent, as you said, is very important for that. So that's really the best way forward is to really tell the message clearly, which we have been doing, and then kind of building the use cases and expanding the use cases, especially from COVID, that kind of they increase the scope of what you can accomplish to provide a safer environment for crowds around the world.
Now let me take you away from sports and another sector which has been badly impacted because of the current situation is tourism.
Yeah.
Okay, so say we take an example of Statue of Liberty. So there were restrictions in terms of the numbers, anyways, before COVID as well. But with the COVID, do you see that there will be more restrictions coming in tourism, and solutions like WaitTime can actually give a confidence to the tourist as well as the tourism boards to actually go ahead and open up places?
Yeah, definitely. So we're actually talking to some related organizations that are helping with that. So there's a lot of different use cases around if you can manage your crowds properly, and if you can manage the crowd intelligence properly, you can have more throughput because you're managing crowds more. So we're talking to a lot of different tourism boards right now. A lot of airports as well, mass transit. So we're actually in a big train station in Australia as well, called Southern Cross. In Melbourne. Managing the people on the platforms. And so monitoring how busy those platforms are is very important to the train station operations because they need to see exactly what's happening in terms of behavior. So, there's a lot of different things that we're doing and we're looking at. It's hard to say what definitively that looks like, but there is value that we can provide nonetheless.
I will touch upon another industry as well, and I think definitely the answer is going to be yes from your side for that as well, because your solution is such that it can go and sit anywhere where even two people start walking. That WaitTime can actually capture those data. So the next industry that I want to touch upon is the conference and the hotels. That's another industry which has taken a big hit because all the conferences have been stopped. Now people are talking about virtual conferences, and because of the tourism and the conferences getting a hit, all the hotels are going through a bad patch. Whether WaitTime can actually be a guiding partner for them in terms of how to go about things?
Yeah, so we've talked through some of our bigger partners, we've talked to some hotel chains, and monitoring the different areas around the hotel are very important to them, like the entryways, the check-in lines, all that good stuff. So we'll be definitely going towards that. That's a little further away than right now, but at the end of the day, there is high interest there. We just gotta, we want to remain focused on what we're focused on, but we do have interest there nonetheless. So check-in lines, entry to the hotel, different areas around the hotel, the eating areas at the hotel, things of that sort. We're able to do that. And that's what we're talking to them about right now.
There are two very important questions that I have to ask you. One, because you were initially a partner for a big stadium like a Sydney cricket ground, and now we are talking about smaller outlets, groceries, office space, and things like that. So for a person who want to actually utilize or use WaitTime, is there a cost factor coming in terms of whether it's going to be a pricey affair, or things have been scaled down and the price will not
scale down? Yeah, so scale down. So we know that areas aren't going to be as large as a Sydney cricket ground or a Melbourne cricket ground. So we've made our solution super economical. that addresses the needs of that size of organization. So we can obviously scale up and we can scale down effectively with the economies of scale. So we can actually, we put together a good program in place for all this stuff, and we worked tirelessly and relentlessly on our pricing to see what the best option is. So yes, the answer is yes. We've scaled up and we've scaled down with our the investment size.
Great. Another important point that I had to discuss, which we had discussed even during our first call we had in October, is about the privacy. So now with the crowd management coming in, a lot of people who are talking about crowd management are talking about facial recognition as well. And if that happens, then people are worried about their privacy and whether their data will get captured or something like that. So how does WaitTime work in terms of whether do you capture the personal data or the facial recognition happens, or it's more on a thermal scanning or something like that?
Yeah, so it's all anonymous. So because we're from above and the crowds are down below, we only see the tops of their heads, their shoulders, the arms. So it's all anonymous. So it's not, hey, there's Bob and there's Sally underneath our cameras. It's there's an X and there's a Y. So it's all anonymous tracking, which allow us to, very, very easily scale with our barriers of entry, because it's just we don't capture any object recognition, any cellular recognition, anything unique off the body, nothing. So it's all about being non-invasive with our solution, and the anonymity of our solution is very powerful.
Awesome. I'm sure that when you started pivoting and started expanding to other sectors and coming out with new products, there would have been definitely some funding which would have been required. So you had the existing partners helping out with that, or you had to actually go out and get some new funds?
So we bootstrapped for the entire time. So, which is good. We got internally funded private company. We didn't take any outside money. We usually try to shy away from those conversations because we want to remain in control of what we're doing, to remain flexible and creative and entrepreneurial. So it's all internally funded.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach, for being part of the show. And I hope to see WaitTime moving across the globe and helping people come out of this pandemic and start enjoying the life as it was before pandemic.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much.